Have you ever noticed what makes someone suddenly want your attention and realize your worth? It's when you finally say, "I've had enough." When you choose to focus on yourself and your own growth, it's like they get hit with a lightning bolt of regret, realizing what they've lost. Then they start chasing you, obsessed with you, like you're the only thing that matters. They didn't see it coming, but now they can't imagine life without you. It's all about taking a step back, regaining your strength, and making them really feel your absence. But here's the real deal. This isn't just some random twist of fate. Yeah, my strong ones, it's the result of taking back your power. When you pull away and focus on yourself, you make them face the hard truth about how much they took you for granted. Now they're left dealing with the emptiness you've created by not being there. They can't stand the idea of losing you. You know what they say, don't chase after them. Let them figure out that they need you, not the other way around. And it doesn't end there. As you keep focusing on yourself, you become even more magnetic and desirable. Just like someone said, attract them with your silence and make them want your attention. They'll start to realize what they're missing, and their regret will only grow. They'll be left wanting your attention, longing for a connection they didn't appreciate when they had it. So, if you're ready to harness this power and make them see just how much they need you, then get ready, because we're about to dive into 9 undeniable truths that will show you exactly why they only want you when you've moved on. This isn't just about shifting the balance, it's about taking control. Let's jump in and uncover the strategies that will put you in the driver's seat of your own life. But before we get started, here's a challenge to set the stage for what's ahead. If you're ready to be that person who effortlessly thinks about it, drop a comment below saying, "I deserve better." This isn't just a trendy phrase. It's a promise to get good at these Stoic skills and become someone unforgettable. Make your thoughts and actions so impactful that people can't stop thinking about you. Who's ready to adopt this mindset and learn how to be an irresistible thought in someone's head? Let's get into it. First up, the power of absence. All right, let's go. First up on our list is the power of absence. You might be thinking, really? Just being absent can make someone want me more? And the answer is a big yes. Let's break it down and see why this simple idea is so impactful. When you're always around, texting, calling, showing up, they start to take you for granted. It's like having Wi-Fi. You only realize it's there when it's gone. Your constant presence becomes something they just expect, like that extra slice of pizza in the fridge. Then, out of nowhere, things change. And that's when it starts to get interesting. Picture this. You're always there, ready to lend a shoulder or hang out whenever they need you. They know they can call you at 2 a.m. and you'll pick up. They can count on you to drop everything just to spend time with them. But then one day, you decide to take a step back. You start focusing on your own life and your own growth, and you stop being so available. Suddenly, that constant attention you used to give is gone, and they're left wondering what the heck happened. This is where the power of not being around really hits. Your absence leaves a hole in their life where you used to be, and here's the deal with holes. They don't like to stay empty, they want to be filled. Your absence makes them face the space you once filled, and they start to see just how much they miss having you around. As the philosopher Epictetus said, it's tough for someone to learn anything new when they think they already know it all. When you're always around, they take you for granted. They know all about you, your schedule, your worth, but when you pull away, they have to rethink things. They suddenly get that they didn't value you enough, and that's when they start to crave you even more. It's like when your fave TV show ends on a cliffhanger and you're dying to know what happens next. Your absence is that cliffhanger in their lives. They're sitting there thinking, wait, did I miss the finale? What's going to happen now? The real kicker is that being away from someone doesn't just make you miss them more, it makes your mind go wild. You start picturing all the stuff they might be doing without you, all the fun they're having, and all the new people they're meeting. Suddenly, they're not the center of your world anymore, and that's when they start wanting to be back in your life. But let's be real. This isn't about playing games or being shady. It's about knowing your own worth and realizing how valuable you are. It doesn't lose its value just because someone doesn't notice it right away. When you stop giving away your strength and start taking it back, they can't help but notice you're not just going along with what they want anymore, and that makes you really interesting. Think about it. When you're always around and eager to please, they know exactly what to expect from you. But when you step back and stop being so predictable, it adds a bit of mystery. They're not sure if they still have your attention, and that uncertainty can be super tempting. Here's a fun example. Remember when you were really into a TV show, but it got a bit dull, so you stopped watching? Then your friend tells you the latest episode had a wild twist, and suddenly you're all in again. You start binge watching to catch up, all because the show went from predictable to surprising. That's exactly what happens when you change the dynamics in a relationship. It's like when you're all steady and reliable, but then you meet someone who's a bit more unpredictable and way more interesting. And let's not forget the humor in this whole thing. It's like when your cat suddenly decides it's not interested in you anymore, and there you are, begging for its attention, holding out the catnip like, "Come on, Fluffy, I'm right here." But Fluffy's busy doing its own thing, and you're the one feeling ignored. That's exactly how they feel when you change things up. Suddenly, they're the ones trying to win you back. But hey, don't forget that. Hey everyone, this isn't about playing games, it's about understanding that relationships go both ways. If you've been doing all the work, it's time to take a step back and see if they're willing to put in some effort. If they do, awesome. If not, then you've just opened up space in your life for someone who will appreciate you without needing constant reminders. So, embrace this change. It's a strong reminder that you deserve to be valued, not just by others, but by yourself too. When you stop chasing, you make room for people to come to you. Those who really care about you will step up when it counts. Keep prioritizing your growth, happiness, and journey. Remember, you're not just shifting the dynamics, you're changing the whole game. Now, let's get into one of the most interesting parts of human relationships, the appeal of independence. This idea is a total game changer and super important for understanding why they suddenly want you when you're no longer interested. Picture this. You've always been the one you're always there for them, making time whenever they need it. They've gotten so used to it that they might even take it for granted. But then something changes. You start focusing on yourself, your growth, your happiness, your goals. You stop waiting for their calls and stop reshaping your life for them. You begin living for yourself. And here's the thing. Independence is super appealing. It's like a light bulb goes on for them, and suddenly they see you thriving on your own. It hits them hard that you're not just there for them anymore. You're no longer someone who's always there for them. You're someone who's out there building a life, growing and shining on your own. And that's when things start to change, my friends. Marcus Aurelius once said that if you're at peace with yourself, you're at peace with the universe. When you're in sync with yourself, you give off a vibe of peace and confidence that people can't help but be drawn to. It's this inner strength that pulls people back to you, especially when they see they're not the center of your world anymore. But why does being independent matter? When you're independent, it shows that you know your worth. You're basically saying, I'm valuable on my own. I don't need anyone to complete me. And believe me, people notice that. They start to see what they're missing out on when they see someone who's whole, self-sufficient, and living life on their own terms. That's the real charm of being independent. Picture this. You're at a party and there's someone who's nice and chatting with everyone, but they don't really stand out. Then there's someone else who's just oozing confidence, feeling good in your own skin, gliding through the crowd effortlessly, not craving attention but just having a great time. Who do you find yourself more attracted to? Probably the latter, right? That's the charm of independence in play. When you truly embrace independence, you become that person who doesn't need anyone's approval. You're too busy chasing your own dreams, and that's way more appealing. It's this confidence and self-assurance that draws others in, even if they didn't recognize your worth before. Let's get this straight. Independence isn't about pushing people away or acting distant. It's about focusing on yourself, your goals, and your well-being. It shows that while you care about your relationships, you don't rely on them for your happiness. This small but significant change in how you think can really change how people see you. They'll start to view you as someone desirable, not because you're always around, but because you're living a full and exciting life that they want to be part of. And that's where the magic happens. When you focus on being independent, you naturally draw in more good vibes and opportunities. You're not sitting around waiting for someone to validate you because you've already done that for yourself. That's when people start to miss you and crave the energy and confidence you give off. So, what's the lesson? Embrace your independence, nurture it, and use it as a powerful tool to not only improve your life, but also make others realize what they lost when they took you for granted. Just remember, folks, you're your own biggest asset. As you keep growing and thriving on your own, you'll notice that people who didn't see your value before will start to get it. By then, it might be too late for them. Living independently means loving yourself enough to know you don't need anyone else to prove your worth. So go out there, live your best life, and watch as others realize how much they want to be a part of it. Stay strong, stay focused, and keep going. Most importantly, just be yourself. Your independence isn't just appealing, it's actually magnetic. Now, let's get into our fourth point, the rarity effect. This one is a game changer, and it really gets to the core of why people only want you when you're not into them anymore. You see, people are naturally drawn to what they can't easily have. It's like how that last slice of pizza suddenly becomes way more tempting when you know it's about to be gone. Same idea. In relationships, when you make yourself less available, you become more valuable. Think about it. If you're always around and ready to drop everything for them, they start to take you for granted. But when you pull back a bit, it's like a light bulb goes off. They start to notice the absence and realize how much your presence really meant. When you start being taken for granted, you go from being just another part of their life to something special and valuable. It's like the difference between everyday stuff and rare collectibles. You don't think twice about losing a pen because you can always grab another one. But if you misplace something super rare, it hits hard, right? When you make yourself rare, you go from being that everyday pen to a one-of-a-kind collectible that they can't stop thinking about. The philosopher Seneca once said, "It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Once you realize that your time and attention are valuable, you stop giving them away so easily. Trust me, when you start valuing your own time, others will begin to value it too. They'll start seeing you not just as someone who's always around, but as someone whose presence is a privilege, not something they can take for granted. And hey, let's lighten this up a bit. It's like when you were a kid. You'd totally ignore your toys until someone else wanted to play with them, and suddenly that toy was the most interesting thing in the room. Adults are pretty much the same way. We all want what we think we might lose. That's exactly what happens when you create a little distance. Now, this doesn't mean you should play hard to get or start some mind games. It's really about focusing on yourself, your growth, and your happiness. When you're not always around and you're busy living your best life, people can't help but notice you're gone. It's a real wake-up call for them about how much you matter, and they start wanting that vibe they used to overlook. Picture this. You're always texting, ready for a call and saying yes to everything. Now turn that around. What if you focused on what you love, hung out with other friends, and worked on yourself? Suddenly, you're not the go-to person anymore, and that's when they start to miss you. They start asking themselves what you're doing and why you're not around as much, and they really begin to long for that connection. They used to ignore the rarity effect, which is a reminder that sometimes less really is more. When you stop pouring so much of yourself into things, you give others the chance to miss you, appreciate you, and see what they could lose. It's a strong strategy, not just in relationships, but in life. So take this as a little motivational nudge. Don't be scared to pull back and let others feel your absence. Focus on yourself and let them figure out how valuable you really are. Remember, you're not just anyone, you're someone worth it. When you start treating yourself better, others will follow suit. Let's get into our fifth point, the contrast of confidence. This is where things get really intriguing. Confidence is one of those qualities that's both attractive and life-changing. When you stop wanting someone, something amazing happens. You start to glow with a new level of confidence, and trust me, people can't help but notice. In someone else's world, you might feel a bit insecure, always looking for their approval or attention. But then you decide to focus on yourself and let go of needing their validation. You stop worrying so much about what they think and start caring more about your own growth, happiness, and well-being. It's like a switch flips inside you, and all of a sudden, you're walking taller, smiling brighter, and radiating a confidence you didn't have before. People definitely notice this change. It's super obvious that the person who used to take you for granted now views you totally differently. You're not the one just hanging around, waiting for their attention anymore. You've become someone who's doing great on your own. And that difference between who you were when you wanted them and who you are now doesn't make a big impact on how they see you. Like the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that really matters. By not letting their indifference get to you, you're showing your strength. When you show confidence and self-assurance, you're making it clear that you don't need anyone else to tell you how valuable you are. And honestly, that's super appealing. Let's add a little humor. Imagine you're a caterpillar that just transformed into a butterfly, and they're standing there, confused about what happened to that awkward little bug. They're suddenly realizing you're not just any butterfly. You're one with bright, colorful wings soaring high and totally out of their reach. Confidence, my friends, is like a shining light in a dark room. It pulls people in, makes them curious, and leaves them wondering how they ever overlooked it. When you stop chasing them and shift your focus to your own journey, your confidence starts to build. And as that happens, their desire for you grows stronger. They begin to see that the person they took for granted has transformed into someone amazing, someone who doesn't need them to feel whole. And here's the twist. This newfound confidence doesn't just attract them, it empowers you. You start to see yourself in a whole new light. You need to understand that your worth isn't based on what others think of you or how much they like you. You're valuable just for being you, not because someone else wants you around. Let this idea motivate you. Own your confidence, stop worrying about being wanted, and you'll see how that changes you and how others view you. You're not just a second choice, You're the star of the show, the one they can't stop thinking about because you're no longer chasing their approval. Remember, confidence is key. It's contagious. The more you nurture it, the more people will be attracted to it. In the end, you'll discover that the only approval you truly need is your own. So keep growing, keep shining, and let your confidence not only pull people in, but also give you the power to live your best life. Now, let's talk about the sixth thing that really hits home: the pain of regret. Have you ever noticed how people only realize what they had once it's too late? It's like that classic saying, "You don't know what you've got until it's gone," right? Picture this. You've been there for someone, always supporting and caring for them, but they never really appreciated it. Then one day, you just decide you've had enough. You take a step back and start focusing on yourself. Suddenly, they realize what they've lost. It's like they're walking down memory lane, but instead of enjoying the memories, they're stumbling over their regrets. Regret hits hard, doesn't it? Hey everyone, it has a way of creeping up on you and making you question what you've done. For them, it's not just about missing you. It's the deep pain of realizing they had something amazing and letting it slip away. As Seneca wisely said, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. But here's the kicker. That end for them is the start of their regret. Let's be honest, regret can be a tough teacher. It makes them relive all the moments they took you for granted and all the times they messed up. They just didn't see your worth. It's like they're going in circles, constantly realizing what they've lost. That's when they start wanting you more than ever. They really crave another shot, even though deep down they know they might never get it. So, if you ever feel unappreciated, keep this in mind. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back and let them feel that regret. It's not about being mean. It's about showing them your true value. Who knows, that regret might just hit them hard. The spark that starts a fresh chapter is when they finally get that you were the one they really needed all along. Stay strong, keep your eyes on your growth, and let their regret show just how valuable you are. You deserve it. Now let's talk about the seventh point, the mystery of uncertainty. This is one of the best reasons why they only want you when you've stopped wanting them. Picture this. You've taken a step back and stopped texting them to check in, and now they're feeling the loss. They're scratching their heads, trying to figure out what's happening, and the uncertainty is driving them crazy. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. And let me tell you, people really dig a good mystery, especially when it's about someone they thought they had all figured out. When you put a little distance between you, it sparks a ton of curiosity. Suddenly, they're thinking about you more, going over old conversations and wondering what you're up to. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. It's not death that a man should fear, but don't be afraid to live your life fully. When they start worrying about losing the connection with you, it just shows how much they care. The less they know, the more curious they become. And here's the thing. Uncertainty is not just interesting, it's like a magnet. It pulls them in, just like a moth to a flame. They'll start missing you and the certainty they used to have. So embrace the mystery. Keep them guessing, and you'll see how quickly they come back, eager to figure you out. And remember, your value doesn't go down because of it. Someone can't appreciate your hard work. Just keep shining and growing and let them see what they're missing. Now, let's talk about the eighth proof, the reversal of roles. This one really opens your eyes, and honestly, it's almost poetic how it happens. Picture this. You were the one always chasing, looking for validation, always around. But then something shifts. You decide to take a step back and focus on yourself, and suddenly, bam! The roles flip. and now they're the ones doing the chasing. Trying to win you back is like what Marcus Aurelius said. The best revenge is to be better than the person who hurt you by not seeking their approval anymore. You've put yourself in a position of power, and they start to wonder, wait, why aren't they chasing me anymore? Did I just lose something valuable? That thought, my friends, is what changes everything. Imagine you were always the one texting first, always the one making plans, but now you're not reaching out or available. They can feel the shift. Start reaching out to grab their attention, trying to win back what they took for granted before. The cool thing about this change is that it's not about playing games. It's about realizing your own worth. When you focus on yourself, you become the one they want. And here's the inspiring part. By taking a step back, you're not just regaining control, you're showing them how valuable you really are. So keep shining, keep working on yourself, and watch how things turn around in your favor. You've got this. So let's get into our 9th point, the fear of finality. When you finally decide to move on, there's this panic that kicks in. It hits them like a ton of bricks, like, wait, this could really be the end. And honestly, nothing makes someone want you more than the fear of losing you for good. Picture this. You've stopped reaching out, stopped worrying, and started living your best life. They see you doing well, and suddenly the thought pops up. What if they can't get you back? It's a classic move. You don't realize what you have until it's gone, and that's when they start to freak out, wondering if they just let the best thing slip away. Marsos once said that our souls get colored by our thoughts, and now their thoughts are all about regret, fear, and desperately wishing they could take back your goodbye. They'll scramble and try to win you back because the thought of you being gone for good is just too hard to handle. So here's the deal, friends. Keep focusing on yourself and let them feel that fear. It's a strong reminder of your value. When you choose yourself, you not only get stronger, but you also become someone others realize they can't afford to lose. These 9 reasons show that when you take back your power, focus on yourself, and pull back a bit, it makes others face the truth of potentially losing you. It's not just about making them want you. It's about knowing your own worth and letting them see it, often when it's nearly too late.